Alright, this is the third lesson in our Basics of Premiere Pro series, and what we're going to do now is we're going to render our entire project. I showed you in the last lesson how to render a portion of it, and we're going to go ahead and render the entire clip, or the entire sequence. So let's go up to File, Export, Media, and it's going to bring up this window here with our export settings, and it's going to show us a preview, and by default it's going to only load our work area, so we can grab these handles here and drag them out because we want to export the entire clip. Now this is showing our source. If we want to see what's going to be outputted based on these settings, we can click over here in the Output tab. And the only reason why the video looks like it's changing right now is because our scale here is different. So if I change this to 100 and this 100, it's going to stay the same. Let's come over here to our options here, and I'll go through a couple of these formats really quickly. Microsoft AVI is pretty much the standard Windows video format. QuickTime is a Mac, but which can be used and is very popular on both platforms. Then you have your MPEGs. MPEG 2 is the standard for a DVD, and that's what we'll stick to that for now. Let's go ahead and keep MPEG 2. Down here for presets, you can choose different presets. We're going to keep it at the DV high quality because it's going to keep our dimensions of our video here. So I'm not going to go through all these options here, but here's our aspect ratio. If we want to change this to widescreen, what it's going to do is just add these bars on our side here. So our clip is going to be a widescreen clip, but the video itself is not going to scale. It's just going to sit in the middle, and that's not what we want. So let's go back to standard. Bitrate settings, you can set these. If you're planning on putting this on the web, you can have a little versatility here. But all these settings really have to do with what the purpose of your project is, and I'm not going to go through all that. This is the way we have it set now is fine. Let's go ahead and we'll come up here to our output name. Actually, before that, these two checkboxes are really important. There's been numerous times where I didn't notice that the export audio wasn't checked. And if you're rendering something very large, that can be a very upsetting realization when you're done with the render, that you need to come back out and render it again because you didn't add your audio. So always make sure those are checked if they're supposed to be. But let's click on output name, and this is going to choose where we're going to put the rendered version of our video and what it's called. And let's just we'll keep it here. We'll say save. Now let's come down here to OK. And what this is going to do is it's going to open up another program, and this may be different depending on which version of Premiere you're using. I believe CS3 and up should be about the same. It's going to bring up the media encoder. Anything below that or before that, you may actually start the render here in Premiere Pro. So if this is different, I'm sorry, bear with me though. So let's say OK, and you'll see the Adobe Media Encoder start to load. Alright, and it's loaded. At first I thought this was kind of an annoying tool because it was another step in the process for rendering, but it's actually quite a very handy tool. This is a standalone tool. You don't need to use it with Premiere. You can open it up on its own, and you can do some encoding on projects that are already there, or even just videos themselves. You can convert them and such by coming over here to add. But you can come in here and still make adjustments to the settings we already made if you want to. But another great thing about this is if, say, we're not ready to render just yet, say we've got other videos to make for whatever this project is, this is a render queue. So we can just keep this here, and we could start working on another project and then add it to the render queue. And then, say we, rather than render while you've got, during your workday, when you should be doing something productive, you could wait until, say, nighttime when you go to sleep or something, and start the queue, and it'll render, and it'll go through the whole list and save it, and do everything according to your parameters here. So let's go ahead and say start queue. If everything's going well, it's going to show you in the preview window here. If you don't see anything here, you can assume that you did something wrong. But you can watch the process go here. It's going to tell you how long it's been and how long is left, and tell you the details of your render. And while that's going, maybe I'll explain render a little better for those of you who aren't familiar with video editing. Render is a term used throughout the video world and design world. It's used in the 3D world as well. Rendering is basically applying all the changes we've done permanently and creating a new video file. You can't take what we've done in here in Premiere and do anything with it outside of Premiere unless you render it. So anytime you want to make something compressed for the web or anything like that, you're going to be rendering it. There you go. So our render's done, and I can open it up, and here it is in Microsoft Media Player. This is not a very professional video or anything like that, so don't hold this to me. It's just to show you some of the things we can do. So you can see that our title happened here, and you can see our effect that we added, and now you can see our layer style. You saw that there for a second, or our blending mode. Well, there you have it. And that concludes our basics series. This was just a quick series to just give you a general idea of Premiere. We'll be putting together another series that'll take an actual project and do something really productive with it. This was really just to kind of go over some of the very, very basic tools in Premiere and the layout a little bit. But there's just a ton more I recommend you explore in the meantime.